For years, my tracks sounded stitched together and I just couldn't figure out why. All the parts sounded like separate ideas forced into one project. But when I listened to my reference tracks instead, they felt super cohesive. It was like one sonic story connected all these parts. So I tried everything to cover up my messy transitions. Swooshes, rises, impact hits, snare rolls, all that good stuff. But nothing seemed to work. And so my sessions ended up with 20 plus unnecessary tracks just for these extra elements that didn't really solve the problem. Then I finally sat down to analyze my reference tracks, like really trying to figure out what they were doing differently. So I was listening critically and also writing down what I heard, and what I found out was quite surprising. After going through about 100 of these reference tracks, a pattern started to emerge. Most of them weren't even using any of these extra effects like swooshes, reverse cymbals and so on. And instead they were using 3 very specific techniques that I will show you in this video and that I still use to this day. Now, in case you don't know me, my name is Philipp from Pick Yourself. I produce, mix and master music for over 15 years now. I do this professionally. I have worked with hundreds of artists from all over the world. I'm also a coach and mentor, and I help electronic music artists like you finish music you can be really proud of at a high quality level. I do this with my team at Pick Yourself. And if that's interesting to you, go to pickyourself.com/coaching. The link is also in the description. So what do professional producers actually do differently when it comes to arrangements and making transitions flow naturally? Well, they certainly don't do what you will see in a lot of other tutorials, which is lots of reverse cymbals, swooshes, risers, snare rolls, impact hits, so all of that stuff. This is a cool production icing on the cake, I would say. But this is the last step of fixing your transitions. Actually, the first step happens much earlier, and this is where the pros spend a lot of time in their productions. So I call this approach sonic storytelling, and that is working with automations and modulations in your sound in a way that lets these transitions flow smoothly from one point to the other. And specifically, I have 3 techniques for you that I will show you that you will know from a lot of productions out there. Now, the first technique is what I call the micro drop. Let's zoom in here and I'll show you why that works and how you can use it. So I'll play it for you first. Now, the idea behind this micro drop technique is that you can use it all the time when you very quickly want to change from one sonic universe to another one. This is not for like the big extended breakdowns that lead into a drop. It's for these little moments where you just want to switch things up in your session. Now, as you can hear, the sound changes without any new parts being added in here. So what's happening under the hood? Well, of course, we need to open up the automation lanes. So you press A, and let's take a look at what happens under the hood. So the first thing you notice is that here in the kick drum, there's actually something changing, and this is this auto filter. Now, that's actually a really cool trick that you can use. You set this auto filter to the DJ mode and find a sweet spot of where you think that kick drum has this like knocky portion of the sound. So you filter out the low end and you find that sweet spot. And once you select it, you just completely bring the wet dry down to 0. Yeah, so whenever a normal part is playing, this is at 0 and you have the normal kick drum sound. And when it then comes to this micro drop moment here, you just quickly bring the wet portion of the signal up to 100% so that the filter is active and filtering out the low frequencies and creating this little resonance boost here, and bring it back to 0 whenever you want the bass to be reintroduced. Now, as you can see, I also removed the bass here. You could also just filter it out. I personally like to keep it a bit more clean so that there's the highest possible contrast to the next part. But then there's also something else happening to the cymbals and like this percussion loop. Why and how is this being filtered down? Actually, I'm also using an auto filter here, and you can see I just bring down the frequency. So this is always active, and I just gradually bring the frequencies down here. So it sweeps through the frequencies. You can see it here. Now, the function of this, the sonic function, is to connect the story of the part before and the part after. So as you can hear, the part after is quite dark. So we always want these contrast moments in our music, from very bright to very dark, because that is what is emotionally appealing and especially works well on the dance floor. Now, if you just stop this, you take out the kick drum and you just randomly stop this percussion track, it will just feel a little bit unnatural. So I can show you how that sounds. I mean, it kind of works, but it's just not smooth enough. And so what I prefer doing is I introduce the listener with this sonic cue that I give them, filtering down the frequencies so that they're being psychoacoustically introduced to the next part, which is a little bit darker. Now, the next technique is what I call the macro drop. This is where you actually have a longer section and you want maximum contrast between one part and the next one. So this works slightly differently. So first of all, let's play this from here. I'm starting with just a stripped down part, and then we're gradually introducing brighter elements. As you can hear, we already introduced some brighter elements, and the goal here is to make it even more bright by adding the cymbals in here, but this is not where it stops. Quite curious if you have spotted all the things that changed under the hood. So first of all, we once again filtered out the kick drum in this part to make it even brighter. We removed the bass to make it even brighter. But then there are a couple of details that you probably haven't noticed. First of all, we have a detune going on that cymbal. Now, why is that happening and how do I do this? Let's take a look here at the sound design. So here I added this right cymbal. It's just like a sampled cymbal. I added this into the drum sampler of Ableton. And you can detune sounds slightly. Now, you can pretty much do this with any sampler, but I just happen to like this quite a lot. What happens here is I'm actually, for 50 cents, which is not too much, this is like half of a semitone, I am detuning this cymbal. Now let's listen to this in solo. So this is super subtle. You could also go more extreme and like completely transpose it, do something crazy like that. But I like these small sonic cues that don't dramatically change the sound, but just give like this little bit of a hint, like a bit of suspension until the next part hits. What's even more interesting is what happens to the lead sound. So this is our lead here. So this is an operator driven by sequence from Sting. It's just like a small EQ after that. And this is seeding also into the delay reverb. But yeah, it's quite a simple patch actually, but the magic is in the details here, as it's always the case. So as you can see, I'm changing something inside operator here. Now with FM synthesis, specific possibilities are there, but this also works for other types of synthesizers. If you have a wavetable, you could automate something in the wavetable position. If you have just subtractive synthesis, you would automate something in the filter cutoff. So let's check this out, what happens here. So what I'm doing here is I am maximizing the contrast. So I detune this frequency here, which is like the bass frequency of that synth. I'm detuning this and bringing it up. So it's getting slightly higher. And then I'm tuning it down even more so that it becomes once again a bit darker in the next part. Now, this is only the timbre of the synth that's changing. That's what's beautiful about this FM synth here. Like, I'm not massively changing the sound design. It's just like nuances and giving the listener like little hints of what's about to come or how they should perceive the track. So when this drop moment hits here, we have maximum dark energy in the track, which means kick drum is full on, bass is coming in, shakers and stuff is removed, and we even down-tuned the lead synth. Now that macro drop technique is the one that I use if I want maximum contrast from one part to the other part, like literally changing the trajectory of the song in this moment. But what happens if you want to do something much more subtle that still opens up a new world? Well, that's exactly what I'll show you in my last technique, and it's probably my favorite. But before we get to that, if you struggle with finishing songs consistently, I have a free gift for you. It's called the Finisher Framework, my 3 simple steps that you can use to finish at least one great sounding song per month. You can get this at pickyourself.com/framework. It's completely free. The link is also in the description. Now, what do you do if you don't want to have that massive change, that massive transition? You can actually do something super subtle, which is extremely cool. And this is what happens in this next drop here, which is what I call the wet dry drop. Now, there are a couple of things that make this special, specifically when we look at the cymbal and the lead. So with the cymbal, there's actually something going on with the reverb that this is being fed to. So the hybrid reverb here is having like a really subtle role in the cymbal. It's just there to embed it a tiny bit. Listen to what happens when we approach this section here. Now this is really subtle. Yeah, I could have thrown this into a massive reverb, but that's not the point here. This is something that very subtly opens up that new space. Now, what happens in the lead? As you can see, I'm feeding the lead into this grain delay and hybrid reverb combination in a return channel. So, and I'm using this A delay send and automating that to be like a bit more upfront. And then at the same time on that return channel, I am automating the wet dry portion to make it more wet so that the delay that's playing here is throwing wetter delays. Let's listen to what happens here with just the lead and the delay. And the detail you have to notice here is that I'm bringing this down even more afterwards. And you could also do this with the send, by the way, but I like the rhythm of the delay. But overall, I'm making everything super, super dry sounding when I bring it back to this normal state. And with the micro drop and the macro drop, we had this contrast between dark energy and bright energy. And we have a little bit of that here as well. But here, the contrast is between very wet and very dry. And there's also a second component to this, which is the stereo width. So these wet parts, they feel slightly wider, whereas the dry parts feel much more mono. Now you could push this further by increasing the stereo width of the lead, for example, by adding something like a unison or chorus or whatever. And the same thing for the delay or reverb. You could just broaden the stereo field even more and bring it back if you want to enhance this even more. But I like the subtlety of this approach. Now, does that mean you should never use swooshes, risers, snare rolls? No, absolutely not. Of course, the pros are also using these tools, but they are very deliberate about these choices, and their parts, they connect well even before they add these elements, using the techniques that I've shown you in this video. So go there, try it out, and if you feel like you still want to add a riser to enhance something even more, then by all means go for it, but don't use it as a crutch to stitch together parts that just don't fit well. Now, transitions are just a small part of the whole arrangement process, so if you want to connect the dots and come up with great arrangements effortlessly, check out that video next.